Hey guys, it's Danny. So just a quick change up. We are, as you can see, there's an EX episode. We had some complications, so instead of cramming and wanting to give some material out and stressing us out on what to do. I had this episode that I recorded with King. So for now, that is just going to be for this week's episode. Okay. And thank you all for your understanding. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Bye.
Gary has Lisa come over to meet his parents. And
she was so excited about that.
Oh my god, yes. And Gary...
I can't wait to meet his parents.
Yeah, exactly. And Gary is somebody who lets his parents control his life, can't stand up to them even though he's a good, he's all in all a good kid, good student. And Lisa, who's a smoke show, rolls in and she's like, I'm your son's date tonight kind of thing. And they're like, you're like 20 something. What the hell?
Welcome back. It's another Cinnamontography episode, and this is the Anime Summit, and your host is me, Danny. Yes, it's me. Hello. And it's another episode for our Brat Pack movie review. So, and with me, of course, is my good friend King.
Hey, everybody, it's good to be back. Danny, I only have one thing to say, and that's from my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intentions?
Yes, I don't know why.
I'm ready for some good tunes when we get there with some Oingo Boingo. With some fun.
Boingo, boingo. Yeah.
And the guy's name, oh my gosh, Danny Elfman, that's his name.
Yes.
Who's the coolest, awesome. This is one of the quintessential movie songs that I can remember. And I'm so excited to be here and talk with you. It's always good to be back with you, Danny.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, so last time we did a cinematography, it was for Halloween, and we reviewed The Faculty with Sam. And that was fun. So we took a little bit of a break of the Brat Pack to do some Halloween fun, and now we're back. We're doing St. Elmo's Fire and Weird Science today. So, which is what a combination.
Sometimes when you gotta take the bad to get to the good. That's how I'm gonna explain this, and I think that's how we have it ordered today. You gotta go through the hardships to get to the good stuff.
Yeah. So Sam is not with us. She couldn't make it for this one. I know Weird Science is one of her favorite movies, so and I knew she wanted to review it, but she wanted to focus more on Fist Stuff Summit and all that kind of stuff. So, which is okay. There will be other cinematography episodes that she can be on. So, but before that, links.animesummit.net is where you can find all our stuff, including the plummet. King, do you want to plug anything of the plummet that's going on before we go ahead and start?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, that's links.animesummit.net. There you're going to find access to our little sister show, Anime Plummet, of course, with the Anime Summit crew as our big sister flagship. There you're also going to find the Patreon, which you can join. I think it's like $1 a month, and you're going to get not only early episodes for both shows. We always like to give you guys a couple extra days early because who doesn't want early podcasts? The second thing, though, is you're going to get some bonus content. I would really recommend, if you're already a patron, open up that app. check out the latest bonus cast from both Nick and Danny. They also had our friends on the Discord, Kai and Hunter, on. They did a great cover of just some of their favorite OPs. That was a really fun one. So that's out there for you right now, patrons. We've got more stuff coming up in the pipeline. Stuff like I'll host a little happy hour drunken court cast where we always have special guests on. Danny, Sam, Nick, Kai, Snowman, everybody and their brother, everybody on the plummet is like all of our friends, and it's just a good chance to hang out and get to know us a little better, what we're listening to, watching, reading, all that kind of cool stuff. So be sure to check that out.
Yes. So, let's get into this. Let's get into
Why is Danny? What's so funny about our first film, St. Elmo's Fire? I don't understand why we're laughing so much.
Because it's such a complete opposite of like everything that we've reviewed.
This is
especially in the Brat Pack.
This is our
quintessentials.
This is just our problem child for the Brat Pack series, and between you and I, this is the one I have been least looking forward to. But I'll get into that when we talk about our connections to this movie.
Yeah. But this movie is also kind of what started it all and what started the Brat Pack review series.
Yes.
In all honesty.
Yes.
So, yeah. This one's a weird one. This one's not your traditional like high school setting. This is more like young adult setting. So like in the 20s,
post-college,
and everything like that. Yeah, after college and stuff. So St. Elmo's Fire came out on June 28, 1985. It was directed, also co-written by Joel Schumacher, who also directed Lost Boys, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin was not a good one.
No, these are post Tim Burton in the Batman film series that were coming out when we were growing up, and these are regarded as the not good Batman films. Though I forgot to add, he also directed the 2004 Phantom of the Opera, and that was okay.
Oh, okay.
That one was okay.
Yeah, it was decent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he did a bunch. I mean, he wrote The Wiz, which I'm not mad about.
No, that's a fun, what a trippy film growing up too. Good
gosh,
Lord.
That one was so weird.
He has just this is just a weird guy with some like a one or two hits here and there, but like a lot of misses. So I think his career is kind of plagued with these weird films. Yeah,
I mean, hey, I'm all about weird. I'm okay with weird.
Yes.
But sometimes it has to work. So yes, and of course our Brat Pack team. The movie is starring Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Demi Moore, Judd Nelson, Ali Sheedy, Andy McDowell, and okay, I don't know how to frickin' pronounce her name.
Mare Winningham is the last one.
Okay,
who
thank
plays,
you.
What is her name in this? I'm not even gonna remember their cast name. To be honest.
Wendy.
Wendy, thank you, Wen.
Yeah.
And she's kind of the odd duckling out in this crew but what a cast. I mean,
yeah, this one definitely has the most like Brat Pack people out of anything.
Yes.
Particularly Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Ali Sheedy, and Judd Nelson.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because and a lot of these names we're going to remember from our Breakfast Club episode that we did. So if you haven't checked that one out, go back into the catalog and go listen to that one because we love that film. Yes.
The budget for this film was $10 million, and the box office made $37.8 million. So I mean, it definitely like made its budget for sure. It wasn't a flop.
Yeah, it's just not. It's like I've been learning recently too how much money a movie actually has to make to break even. Because 10 million is the budget for making the film, and we don't usually get to see the marketing. And my understanding is it has to at least, so if it's 10 million, it needs to make 20 million because of just to break even due to marketing, distribution, all of these different things. So like you're looking at about 17 million, which sounds like, whoa, that's a lot. But for a studio, that's not good. Like they're like the return on that is not a good view. So
yeah. And the movie did receive like a ton of negative reviews from critics, but it was a box office hit.
Yeah,
so
100%. I want to remind folks too, just real quick, that this is it's St. Elmo's Fire and The Breakfast Club are the quintessential Brat Pack movies. There's that article we talked about in a couple episodes ago, where that's where they coined the term. And it's just, if you were in both movies, you were part of the Brat Pack, and a lot of people are like Brat Pack adjacent. So this is an important piece of just pop culture history, even though it's kind of a stinker.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so a little bit on the plot. 7 recent Georgetown University graduates. They wait to... Okay, wait, I'm just going to read this whole thing. Recent Georgetown University graduates Alec, Leslie, Kevin, Jules, and Kirby wait to hear about the conditions of their friends. Wendy, a sweet-natured young woman devoted to help others, and Billy, a former fraternity boy and now reluctant husband and father after a minor car accident caused by Billy's drinking. At the hospital, Kirby spots a medical student named Dale with whom he has been infatuated since college. So this movie pretty much centers around these 7 friends who just recently graduated college, and they're just kind of dealing with the responsibilities of being an adult, a young adult per se. So, and oh boy.
which with what you just described, I'm interested. When I hear this, I'm at the moment, I am 32 years fun, and I remember this time period. And as we get more into themes, I'll comment more on it. But I'm like, yeah, group of friends out of college struggling with becoming adults. Man, what a relatable theme. I'm in. I'm hooked already, ready to go.
Yeah. With their and it's like their adjustments after, being in college and, just like being in the real world now. Like they don't have to go to school. They don't have like, oh, I have to go to this class, or like, oh yeah, there's this party, you want to go to that, blah blah blah. So, but I mean, for me, I can't really relate to that because when I was in college, like I was going to a community college, so there weren't any dorm rooms for me or anything like that. So yeah, and like at freaking 22, because that's pretty much the age that they're at right now. Like okay, did you see all their freaking apartments?
This is the classic, because I know Danny is a fan of the TV hit show Friends, and it's the same thing of like, how the hell does everybody afford a 3-bedroom apartment that they live in alone? On like these low level entry position jobs. And this is the same thing. Some of these folks are employed. Some are going back to graduate school, law school, whatever. And you can just tell with where they live. You're like, oh my God, this is so nice. The movie, as mentioned, takes place in Georgetown, which is located in Washington, D.C. And it's one of the nicest parts of D.C., one of the richest areas.
So just by that alone, like, I mean, I can only imagine what like income was like and like affordability was like in the 80s. Because I guarantee you now I mean, even in the worst parts of DC, like it's stupid. It's stinking expensive.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. Cost of living is astronomical. And like I said, where they live is really nice and really expensive.
Yeah, like freaking Leslie and Alex apartment.
Oh, just massive.
What the fuck is that? What is that?
Dude, massive, full kitchen, big ass living room where, remember, they got to get the big couch. We can get the big couch if you get the new job. Kind of
Right,
thing.
right.
But I'm curious, to start off, if you had, when you had seen this movie, what's your connection to it?
Yeah, okay. So this movie, I mean, I have very little connection with this movie. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't really have too much connection with it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it existed because literally after watching The Breakfast Club, I go online and I'm all like, I kind of geek over like my favorite actors and I want to watch all their movies kind of thing. So, and at the time, I was like, when I was in high school, I was a huge fan of Judd Nelson. I'm all like, I want to watch all his movies. Like, what other movies has he done? And he did St. Elmo's Fire, and also Ali Sheedy was in it. So I was like, oh, great, awesome, like, count me in. So, yeah, so it was like years ago, and honestly, I barely remember anything from this movie. I think I fell asleep, in all honesty, while watching it, and I just never like went ahead and rewatched it again. I kind of just like forgot about it. So yeah. So really, like, it was like my second time, not even, like, more like a first-ish time, 1.5 first time watching it. So yeah. Oh gosh. Like, I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, but like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Like, I have really mixed feelings because it's like there are so many good actors in this movie, but like the writing was just awful.
Oh, 100%. This, and it's weird to group these movies all together in the same universe, because you're like, oh, there's going to be a running theme, feel, writing style to it. But then you realize this movie and Breakfast Club are written, directed, completely different guys with completely different career trajectories.
Right.
John Hughes is, considered a master of his craft. And the more you look into Joel Schumacher, like I said, you just start to see like, man, there are some stinkers on his resume.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This guy is just out of his element. And, we're dealing, most of the stories we're used to dealing with is coming of age tales. This is, you've come of age and it kind of sucks.
And that's it. Yeah. 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 Holy moly. I mean, honestly, like, I didn't mind the beginning. Like, the beginning of the film, I didn't mind. You know? It was like literally the middle section that I was just like super cringe. And then like the ending part, I think like when like when Leslie goes to Kevin's apartment and like Kevin kind of just like confesses his feelings to Leslie and stuff, and then they end up having sex and everything. Like, from that point on to the end, it got interesting, especially with Jules and like her struggles and stuff like that. But like the middle part, and more so, I had a huge problem with Emilio Estevez's character Kirby, because like, okay, in the beginning, like they're at that hospital and he spots Dale, like, who's the medical student and stuff.
Played by Andy McDowell too.
Yes. Which also, Dale is a bitch. I'm gonna flat out say it. Like,
yes.
Like, throughout the whole thing, because Kirby is showing interest in this woman, you know, like clearly you can tell that like he has a crush on her and everything. But then there's then you have Dale, who is played by Andy McDowell, and like literally doesn't even say, I'm sorry, man, I'm just not that into you. And just like continues to lead Kirby on. And then it leads Kirby into like this obsessive, compulsive, like craziness. And it's awful.
Oh yeah. And for the listeners too, we should take a step back and just like broadly explain, like, we are getting throughout the movie, we are getting scenes of all of the actors, remember, post college, how they're handling their new life as adults, including things like relationships, love, their friendship with with each other, some serious topics like alcoholism, drug addiction. Though they don't really pose it that way, it's just kind of like quote unquote partying. It's just like
there.
Yeah, or they kind of play it off as like, oh, like instead of being
this
like
is normal.
Yeah, instead of being like, hey, Demi Moore, you have a cocaine issue. They kind of write it off as like, oh, you just haven't gotten out of the college phase yet. And you're like, no, that's not what's going on here.
Yeah.
Or hey, this terrible, some terrible things will happen. Let's go to St. Elmo's, which is the bar that they like to go to in Georgetown. It's based off of a famous bar called the Tombs in Georgetown that you can go to today and have beer at. Anytime something bad happens, it's like, well, I could use a drink at St. Elmo's. And it's like, no, bitch, the reason why you got in trouble or this thing happened is because you already had a drink and it's not good. So that's really like the main plot of the movie, without like, we didn't want to go through every single scene in detail, but that's really it, right? Like, here are some stories. Here's how they're struggling with adulthood. People are falling in love. People are falling out of love. People are cheating. Having to deal with the struggles of all of these things, and their friendship group is kind of imploding on itself because of all these like extreme personalities that each cast member brings to the group.
Yeah. Oh man. So what's your connection to this movie?
Yes, this it's funny because getting to do this series with you has been, for me, really rewarding and really fun and interesting. And I'm sad to say that the reason we're here today is because of this movie.
Because of this movie.
And for listeners at home, let me explain. I want to say it's almost like 6 months ago at this point, something around
pretty
then.
Much.
I've always liked 80s films. I've always liked Brat Pack films. I had never seen this one growing up for whatever reason.
I mean, for all good reasons.
There's some good reasons for not wanting to see it. But my sister, actually, shout out my sister, and she had mentioned, we were just chatting about Brat Pack stuff, and she's like, oh, well, you have to see St. Elmo's Fire. It's on HBO Max right now. And I'm like, oh, no, I never saw that one. She's like, oh, my God, you're going to love it. It's one of my favorites.
It's one of her favorites?
That's what she said at the time. And so I'm like, okay, me and my lovely wife, we come home from a visit from her, and we're like, yeah, let's pop this on. And then the whole thing unfolds, and my first thought is to text my sister, be like, what the fuck was this, dude? This is one of the worst films ever. It's cringy. It's toxic. It's inappropriate at times. Like, it's just, and my least favorite thing about this, and this will be one of my main points later to critique, is all is forgiven by everyone. There's no one can really do anything that terrible that they're like, I'm not talking to you anymore. You're a piece of shit. Like, everything is always forgiven, no matter how badly you fuck up, which just feels so disingenuous. But so I started talking in our Discord, which, once again, that's links.animesummit.net. You can come hang out with me and Danny and talk about Brat Pack films if you want to. I knew that Danny is, just through listening to her Cinnamontography over the years, I know that she's really passionate about movies. She loves talking. And I sent her, I let her know, I said, hey, I just saw this film and this is fucking terrible. Like, I absolutely hate it. And this is kind of the start off point where Danny and I just start going back and forth. We both realize we have a love and appreciation for these kind of films, just how impactful they were from growing up. And that's how we just started brainstorming with, we'd love to do a Brat Pack Cinnamontography special where we get to dive back in and review it. So it's funny that
even
this
Sam
is
was in on that conversation too.
Yeah.
But like you and me were all like, no, let's do this like chronologically kind of insane, massive thing. And Sam was all like, oh, I just wanted to review the, the main ones.
The good ones.
Not all of them.
Sam was like, let me just get in on the good ones. You guys can cover the crap.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame her because, you got to dig through some bad stuff to get through the good stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so that this is my connection to it is this movie, in my opinion, gets my friendship with Danny just more expanded. We get to spend more time together. We get to have fun. We get to laugh. And it's like we're creating fun content that I personally enjoy. So shout out to Joel Schumacher for helping us with this, I guess, because this is I'm having a great time. But yeah, that's my connection. Should we jump into talking about just some themes about this film?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Awesome. One thing that we had pointed out, which sold me on the beginning of this film. The main point of this film is that life is very difficult for young people as they start to leave the nest, in not so many words. Maybe it's your graduating college. Maybe it's you got a job out of high school, you're a trade school, you're starting to live on your own. And you start to realize like the freedom that was college, the freedom of high school, in that your responsibility is so low in that you really only, you have to worry about yourself. Maybe you got to go to classes. Maybe, you have to remember to eat certain meals regularly or whatever. And like, that's all you're really concerned with. And then you leave that space and it's, hey man, you got to get a job. And you've got to pay rent and you've got to show up day to day and do this for 8 hours. Maybe you're in a serious relationship and you need to show up for your partner day in and day out. Societal pressures of when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? These things that all young people really can identify with is what can make life at that stage kind of it can kind of make you feel jaded. Maybe the questions of that, which I love the Billy character for pointing this out, is the party over?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Are the good times gone? And just the overall arching question, which all young people have asked, is this all there is to life? The daily grind, the same kind of rut of like, we do this on Saturday, we do this on Sunday, and then you go to work on Monday. And I'm like, man, did I identify with that tone and message? Kind of in the beginning of the movie, especially with Rob Lowe's character, Billy, that we just mentioned, of I am not adjusting to this well, and I'm going to lash out against that through continuing to party with alcohol, with drugs, to an excessive level. I'm going to keep fucking up at work, so I keep getting fired. I'm hating the job.
Man, like it's not even, oh gosh.
Yeah. And
what a problem. Like I was just like left and right, like you hear Billy going for a job and then all of a sudden he's like, fuck this. Where's the bar? Like I'm just going to fucking smoke my cigarette, snort some Coke and drink some beer.
Yeah. And here's the thing. That in itself, that's relatable. I've known these people. I had my crisis of like, is this all there is? And then I took steps and decisions and worked on my mental health to kind of get out of this feeling and whatnot. Or what you could do is turn to drugs and alcohol and completely fuck up your life.
And play your saxophone.
So like this is the main, like that main point that I saw coming out of this movie. And I'm like, great. I love this. The problem is, to tell a good story and to really get people to connect to it, you need to have compelling, relatable characters that you find redeeming qualities in. And it's really tough to find those things in this film because the characters are so poorly written and you kind of just dislike everybody from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so out of the characters, so Kirby Keeger is played by Emilio Estevez. Billy Hicks is played by Rob Lowe. Kevin is played by Andrew McCarthy. Demi Moore plays Jules. Judd Nelson plays Alec. Ali Sheedy plays Leslie. And say her name again, because
Mayor Winningham plays...
Mayor Winningham plays Wendy. So out of all of them, you know, for me personally, I think I honestly can kind of relate to Kevin and Leslie, quite frankly. Because, well, Kevin in particular, because like he's a struggling writer, like he's a writer, so, and he's trying to write for the Washington Post and stuff, but like he's not getting any of his stuff published. So as an artist, like that's for sure struggling, trying to identify yourself, you know. And then Leslie, who is like currently in a relationship with Alec, who is a freaking yuppie pursuing a career in politics. You know, she's trying to work on her art and like, you know, being an architect and everything. So, but she's also reluctant on marrying Alec because Alec keeps pushing at her to marry him and stuff. So, you know, because like in the 80s, and at least like in the 80s or before the 80s, like that's what people did. Like either as soon as they got out of high school, they married their high school sweetheart, or, you know, and they had kids and everything, or they go to college and then the minute they're out of college, they marry, you know, whoever, and then they have kids and stuff. So like that was like the norm. But nowadays, like things are changing. Women are like, especially in the 80s, are starting to have careers. Like you don't have to be, you know, a secretary or something like that anymore. So yeah, like for me, I out of the two, mostly more of Kevin, I can relate. But out of all of them, I could not relate to any of them at all, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's and like I said, that's the problem of getting this main point across of life is hard when you're young, figuring out the world. Yes, totally agree. And I really wish I could connect to these characters more, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, we have Al as a character played by Judd Nelson, who, like you said, he's involved in politics. Yeah, Alec, and his whole thing. And these people do exist. The reason you get married and have kids isn't out of love and wanting to start a family. It's a status thing. It's a checkbox of, hey, to be a successful person in this, you know, rat race town of DC, not only do you have to be successful, you also have to be like, look, here's my wife and kids. Look, I don't spend time with them. And
right, especially in Alec's situation, because like he's pursuing career in politics, so and his choice, because I believe all of them are Democrats. I think they made a point to say that, and they were making fun of Alec because he decided to work under a Republican, and Alex his reason for that is because, well, Republicans pay more money that way.
which is actually I did love that scene because we all have friends who, as you get older and you start to grow up, you might start to compromise on certain beliefs, on certain ideas, because you think that's how you want to get ahead. And that was just a great little subtle thing of like, he's just like, these things I believed in college, the fact that I was the young Democrat, club president for however long, and I don't agree with this politician, like, that doesn't matter, because what matters now is getting ahead in life. This is what I got to do to get to the next level. And I'm like, yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, I definitely know those folks. Everybody grows up with people like that. Hopefully you don't have to sell yourself out too much to get to where you want to be, but it's, I understand it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's honestly why, like, Alec was really pursuing the whole marriage thing with Leslie, was because of like his social status and working with Republicans, because the stereotype for Republicans is they're all married and they all have kids.
Exactly.
And, so, yeah, like that was just,
yeah, it's like
such a turn off.
Such a turn off. So we got one story with Leslie and Alec.
Oh, but also we can't forget, he's also having an affair with a saleswoman.
Oh, with I think it's implied with like countless women over the time. Like he can't stop chasing chicks. Like that's
right.
his problem. He can't stop chasing women. And his reasoning is, well, if Leslie would just marry me, then I wouldn't have to chase I wouldn't want to chase these chicks because I wouldn't cheat on my wife. And I'm like,
that freaking pisses me off so much. And like saying, if Leslie would just commit to marrying me, I'll be, and like Kevin is all like, because he was telling Kevin that.
Andrew
and
McCarthy's
Kevin was all like, oh, so if Leslie marries you, then you'll be more faithful to her. And Alec goes, yeah, that's how it works. And I'm just like, dude, that's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works at all. Like, you should want, if you choose to be in a monogamous relationship with someone, if you enter it, you should honor that. If you want something different, you should voice that opinion. And if the other person doesn't want it, well, then you go your separate ways. And it's fine. Yeah. It's the man up or shut up. He's being just a child through it, because he's just, a classic trait with Alec's character is he flips it on other people. He's like, I'm not the one being a bad behavior. You're the one who's not tolerating my bad behavior. And that's why you're the problem. Gaslighting, toxic shit like that you're just like, ooh, that. And one of the things that makes the movie really, really cringe. And then, with this relationship between Leslie and Alec, we also have Andrew McCarthy's character, Kevin, who we come to learn is, ever since college, is madly in love with Allie's character, played by Ali Sheedy. Leslie, sorry. And he's just the man on the side, like watching all of this happen. He's like, I love this girl. She's with somebody else. And this guy's a total dickhead and like cheating.
But none
of
their friends know that. Like with Jules, like, because not only that, Jules accused Kevin of being gay and being in love with Alec. So like none of their friends knew that Alec was Kevin was in love with Leslie. So until like the very end, when at like that huge party at that Korean businessman's house,
Mr.
Kirby
Kim
hosts. Yeah, Mr. Kim.
Can we all agree? Like, poor Mr. Kim.
Oh my God.
He's just this.
Like first of all, Billy started having sex with Mr. Kim's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Kirby is here and like literally lied to this poor businessman and just threw a fucking party at his house.
Yeah.
And like, oh God.
And this was one of my other critiques of the film. There's very little comedy in this film. Like, I didn't find myself laughing, but anytime they brought in businessman Mr. Kim, and somehow both Billy and Kirby end up working for him as like kind of house sitters, assistants or whatever, they both fuck it up unbelievably, and you're just like,
Yeah.
damn, Mr. Kim, I'm so sorry for you. So shout out Mr. Kim for being like one of the only sources of comedy in the film. It's just this poor guy who can't get
poor
like,
guy.
and I did some math just for funsies, because I love doing our 1980s math. He was offering them $500 a week to be his assistants and just basically be a caretaker at their house. That's like a couple $1,000s today. So you would be doing very well.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, come on, like that's easy money. Taking care of a freaking house.
Yes. Yes.
Sign me up. I'll do that. I don't care.
Yeah. So shout out to him. So we got 3 of them down. You just mentioned Kirby, who we talked about. He falls in love with Dale.
Briefly. Yeah. Okay. I really want to get into the nitty gritty with Kirby's character, who plays by Emilio Estevez.
Let's get into it. The biggest simp douchebag ever.
So honestly, like, I wouldn't really have much of a problem with everything else if it wasn't for Kirby's character.
Oh, let's dig into that.
I really wouldn't mind like the whole issue with Billy and being an alcoholic, and like also kind of like having some rapey issues later on.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole like Alex sleeping with the woman, literally cheating on Leslie and everything like that. I wouldn't even mind any of that. The real sole problem that I had with this movie was Kirby's story and just how obsessive he became with Dale, with this lady doctor. And I'm just and like all the stupid stuff that he like attempted to do, like freaking going to this restaurant and the restaurant not even being open, and he's like examining the tables and he's like, I want this table, and the guy's like, that's fine, but that's a table for 4. And like Kirby's like, I'll pay double, it's fine. And like he literally just sits there and waits and waits and waits and waits and waits. And I'm just like, man, she's not that worth it, bro. Like she went to lunch or whatever, and then she didn't even sit to eat with him. Like she got like a phone call because she had to go back to the hospital. Like and then oh, this gets better. And then he stalks her.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his frickin' bicycle waiting for her to leave her house, and then follows her to like this party or whatever, and just like watches her through the window, and like all of a sudden, a guy just like wraps his arm around Dale's waist and stuff, and like he gets like so mad. I'm just like, what are you mad about, bro? Like she's not that into you. Like take the hint. This is and then the party at Mr. Kim's place, and then like Kirby getting mad that Dale didn't come to the party, and then like he drives to like her apartment, number 1, to find out where she was. First of all, Dale's roommate shouldn't have told Kirby where she was.
No, this is psychopathic behavior at this point, where he's like, where the hell is Dale? I'm gonna find her and give her a piece of my mind. It's like, dude, you don't do that to anyone. That's horrifying.
Calling her job and asking to see if she got like any emergency calls to the hospital, like if she had to work or anything like that. Literally called, like just being obsessed. And that's no, friend. Like, in all honesty, like if I was Dale, I would have I think Dale was a little bit too nice to Kirby and his behavior and everything like that.
100%.
Not only that, like she's a fucking bitch too, because like the fact, like honestly, if I was Dale and like the moment like Kirby came inside the house, and he was like all wet and everything, and everyone's looking at him, and he was like soaked to the bone, and like he like walked up to Dale, and she turned around, she's all like, what are you doing here? In that moment, if I was her, I'd be like, come with me. I would have walked him out, called him a cab, and said, don't ever see me again. Like, this, no, like, whatever this is, I don't want it. Thank you. Have a nice life. Goodbye. Like,
Ugh.
She should have ended it. But in all honesty, like, she invited him to her apartment, like, nonchalantly. And she kept saying, like, you don't even know me. Like, I only saw you at a glance while we were in school. Like, is a huge problem. Like, I hated it. I absolutely hated that whole thing that happened with Kirby. Because, like, I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
What? And
like,
you know, it's interesting too, because when talking this whole thing out, if we really think about it, what's going on with Kirby and Dale is completely separate from the group. It has nothing to do with any of the characters, and you have to ask, what does this do for the movie? What does this storyline do for us? It has nothing to do with the group. It's all about Kirby. It's just like upsetting to watch and so cringe at times. So it's like it detracts from the movie. I think you already said it. You're like, this is like the worst part of the movie because it doesn't fit with anything else going on.
Yeah.
All
it's
the
so
other
out of
storylines.
place.
Yes, all the other storylines are kind of tied together, which is once again what's going to happen to this friendship group with the hardships of becoming an adult, and another big thing of like, how do you deal with friends that are going off the rails? Except these two things don't apply to Kirby because he's just simping so hard. So whenever we bring up, Danny, anytime we bring up simps on our anime podcast, we got to be like, yo, shout out to Kirby from St. Elmo's Fire, the biggest simp ever.
If I remember, oh my gosh.
Dude, so I even put because at the end we can say who our favorite character is, but hands down my least favorite character is Kirby.
Oh yes,
creepy.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Yeah. That whole thing is just an absolute problem. Like, it's just, it made me want to gag. Like, honestly, I could find, like, him going and stalking her at the party, and then going to, Andy's character, bringing her to her house and everything. Like, yeah, fine. But, like, the whole, like, calling her job, threatening her job to, like, finding out where she is, then going to her apartment and threatening her roommate on where she is, and then finally finding out where she went, driving there, like physically driving to the cabin because she went skiing, driving to the cabin to confront her. Like, no.
No. He's...
Nope. No.
And of course we have to let spoiler, folks, because I don't give a you don't need to see this movie. We'll tell you what happens. So we're throwing the no spoilers out. He kind of like gets with her at the end. He's able to get a smooch with her, and she likes it, and you're just like, no, ew, gross. This is terrible.
Even then, like, that doesn't win me over. Like, in the end, like, with that whole thing, like, I feel like that is more, and again, this is where, like, Dale's character is a problem as well, because she's leading him on.
Yeah, she's tolerating horrible behavior.
Yeah. Like, literally allowing him to do that to her in front of her boyfriend, no less.
Yeah.
And, like, I can get the whole, like, sympathetic thing, and then, like, Kirby giving her that like kiss in the end and everything like that. And like, I don't know. I think it was more of, I think that whole like finale thing was supposed to like prove a point to Dale. It's all like, this is what you're missing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like if for me, if someone is trying to impress me and it's like stalker obsessed kind of behavior, you're not impressing me at all.
No, of course not. It's
so,
oh man, you could tell like Schumacher was really trying to shove in like, hey man, Kirby's the everyday man just trying to go for his chick,
gosh,
and we should
I
all
don't
relate.
know what the frick they were thinking.
Oh,
like,
dude,
I really don't understand.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
supposed
get
to
it.
be excited for Kirby. You're like, yeah, if you just keep pestering women, they'll eventually have to give in because you've threatened them so much, and that's how you win them over. Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
no, don't do that. That's but hey, we could dunk on Kirby all day, but we still have 3 more members of this crew to hit. Let's bring it over.
And plus we have weird science, so
and we
like,
got to get to
yeah.
weird science. So let's knock these out. Demi Moore's character is right out of college. She gets a job at a high power banking firm. Insert high power job in DC. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She,
International banker.
Thank you very much. She has 2 problems. One of them is cocaine, which is a very expensive, bad problem to have and horrible for your health. The second problem is she has a spending problem where she spends too much money on cocaine and other things.
Well, she has multiple problems.
She has multiple problems, but
not just those 2.
Exactly. But it's the thing of like her life is falling to pieces. This is bringing it back to one of the themes of what do you do when your friend starts to go off the rails? And she is just in crisis mode for a lot of this movie. Her friends are somewhat concerned and try to talk to her, but this is one of my other main critiques of the film is, and it could apply to any character. Something bad happens. Somebody does something fucked up. What is the answer? Hey, let's go to St. Elmo's and have a couple pints and everything will, you know what? Have a couple drinks, sleep it off. It'll be better tomorrow. And that doesn't work when you have a crippling alcohol and cocaine addiction.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like, I feel like Jules is in the same line as like Billy because they're both party people.
These are the 2 that are going off the rails
yes,
throughout the movie.
Yeah. Like Billy has an alcohol, he has an alcohol addiction.
Womanizing.
Jules has, womanizer. He has like a so-called wife, like although
and a child.
Honestly, do you really? At this point, I don't even consider that woman his wife. Like I'm just gonna say that's his girlfriend because
he doesn't treat her like a wife, that's for sure.
He's like literally making pass to any freaking person that walks. So that was just like a confusing relationship in its own. But it's the same thing with Jules. Like Jules, she got this job, but like she's the type of person that, she'll get that job, but she won't do it well.
Yes.
She just got the job because it pays well, but she doesn't do it well. So, and then that's kind of when like she started going off and like having affairs and everything and just being so reckless. And that's kind of when like Wendy and Leslie are like really concerned about her behavior. So yeah. And again, like that whole aspect I really did not mind because that's real life situation shit. I'm pretty sure everybody has that one friend who kind of goes off the rails and like, you're generally concerned for them. So, because I mean, aside from Billy, majority of all the other friends a part of this group aren't really like heavy addicts to anything.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like the grown-ups, you know. Billy and Jules is like the kids of the group, you know. They're still in their like heyday of like college life kind of thing. That's what they want to do. They want to party. They don't want responsibility. So yeah, which is why like Jules kind of had her mental breakdown in the end, because after a while, you know, the group kind of finds out that Jules kind of locked herself in her apartment, and like, you know, she's fallen behind on like all of her bills.
She's,
you know,
she's yacked out of her mind by this point. She's probably,
yeah,
you're
like
not sleeping, you're not eating, you're not
Yeah.
taking care of yourself, you're just
Yeah.
coked out.
She was putting up a front, like pretending to go to a job or anything like that. So, you know, so that moment, and of course, you know, she opened all the windows in her apartment, and she, you know, just intended to kill herself.
Yeah.
So, and all her friends were just trying to help and everything, and then this is kind of where like Billy kind of makes a good move on it, because he ends up talking to Jules and like calming her down and stuff, and you know, they just start to talk about like the two of them and how they relate to one another, and just saying, you know, like, yeah, this is life, like it's hard, like it is going to be hard and stuff. And I think this is where honestly kind of like Billy realizes like I need to grow up, because he was so reluctant on like getting a regular job and supporting his family and stuff. He actually went back to the college, to the school, and like was hanging out with some of his old college buddies, and they were sitting they were like playing football and stuff, and Billy was talking to one of his old, you know, frat boys, and was all like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about getting a job on campus, like do you think you can help me out? And the guy was like, oh yeah, like totally, we could use somebody like you. And Billy's like, yeah, cool, man. And the guy just flat out said like, yeah, we need someone who can get us good drugs. Just like, damn, oh man, this sucks. So I think that was kind of like an eye opener for Billy, like you know, this is not going to work out for me, kind of.
Yes.
You know.
He does.
So
he has this come to Jesus moment where he's like, he finally stops the drugs.
Jesus.
He stops the drinking, and he's like, I gotta get something together. So by the end, he's kind of got his head on straight and is able to help Demi Moore sort of, and is able to help Demi Moore just kind of be like, hey, it's this sucks, but it's gonna be okay. We'll be there for each other, and that was a nice moment. But I will say, in Demi Moore's situation, where, you know, she's strung out, she's thinking of suicide, you know, she's incredibly in debt. What ends up happening in the movie is they're like, which of course, once again, if there's an issue or a problem, the solution is, we should all go to the bar and have another couple rounds of drinks. Yeah. In my impression, Demi Moore desperately needs to go to rehab and therapy.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
But that wasn't. 100%. This is 1985. That wasn't going to be the answer. So that was never. The answer is, you're going to be fine. Everybody does too much cocaine. Just go to the bar and you'll be okay with it. It'll be fine. We've spoken so much about Billy too. I feel like we don't have to get too into it, but I do want to touch on our last character, who I feel bad for. Wendy, of course, played by Mare Winningham, and Wendy is unfortunately the person in the 80s movie who you shove in there. She's she's just like the fat girl, except she's a totally normal looking person.
Yeah. She was actually super pretty in this movie.
Yeah, she was so pretty, but she's a little bit like bigger than the other women, and they're like, therefore you are the fat girl. And it's just like a lot, there's like fat jokes throughout doing that, and fat shaming. I'm like, she's a normal sized person.
Well, I mean, even like her family was like fat shaming her as well and stuff like that. I mean, even like Wendy and Billy, like Wendy had a thing for Billy, so, and like they got drunk and you know, they started kissing, and that's when like Billy started making fun of her girdle and all that kind of stuff, and so that was like a major turn off. I'm like, come on, man, like why did you do that?
I just feel bad for her the whole time too, because her family is pressuring her for, to
marry somebody. Yes, like that was so annoying.
And kind of her family's like, because Wendy's like, I want to marry someone I love and then I want to start a family with and be passionate. And her parents are like, that's not really what adulthood is about. Like, that's not what marriage is about. Like, this is what it is. You need to find a stable man who will work at the family business, who will get you pregnant, and you will have children. That is the point of adulthood. And you're just like, no, I don't like subscribe to that at all. So I did like.
She was even like she was just like so. She wanted to like not live at her parents' house too. Yes. And like she wanted her own place and stuff. She didn't want to like get married right away and then that's how you like leave the nest kind of thing. So, which I totally can relate to that, absolutely, because there's been a point in time where it's just like I want to live on my own. I want my own things and all that kind of stuff.
You want your own life and your own decisions.
Yeah, but like it's just so it's very difficult to live on your own, particularly for me. And like living in New Jersey was just not was not going to happen, especially with my income. So yeah, so like the whole like I had a lot of sympathy for Wendy for that aspect on wanting her own place and stuff.
Yes.
So and I did like that Wendy and Billy were able to like make up because Wendy did tell her father like, you know, I'm not in love with Howie or whoever that guy that she was seeing that her parents like arranged and everything.
Yeah.
And like she told her dad, like, you know, I like Billy. Like Billy is the one I like. So and then when she finally got her own place and like Billy went to go visit her and stuff and like they had like a nice conversation. And you know that was when Billy decided like, yeah, I'm gonna move, like I'm gonna go to New York instead, and like he decided to divorce his wife and stuff.
Don't forget he also decided to abandon his child, which and I love the reasoning. He goes, they'll be better off without me. I'm like, that's a really quick way of being like, peace out, family, bye responsibility.
I mean,
it is better, but it's just kind of funny.
He admitted it. You know, I mean, he even said, he's like, I can probably be one of those weekend dads.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, I would say in that aspect, like with that whole situation, like if I was his wife or now ex-wife, you know, like if I can see that he is making an effort in getting his shit together, you know, then I would apply some visitation rights and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure there would have been like some sort of like arrangement for that kind of thing. But who knows? It's the freaking 80s. Like,
yes. So the one thing I will say is I'm going to say right now, my favorite character is Wendy for two reasons. You mentioned she kind of stands up to her father at the end of the movie and says, I don't want to feel pressure to get married. I want to make my own decisions. I'm moving out. And, you know, they end on a nice little like understanding. So stood up to the dad. Great. And the whole movie, there are jokes made about her virginity that she's never lost. She ends up losing it to Billy, which is a pretty cool guy move. So she stands up to her dad. She loses her virginity to a very attractive Rob Lowe. I will say he's very handsome in this movie.
Yes, he is.
Wendy, Mayor Winningham, you're my favorite character of this film. And we've covered everybody, which is sweet. Spoiler, this is the ending of the film. They all get back together. Their friendships are there enough. They walk up to St. Elmo's because they're like, maybe we should get a drink. And somebody's like,
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, I have work tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Let's not go to St. Elmo. Let's not go to the college bar as, adults.
And then they're all like, oh, you guys want to go to Hula Hands next Sunday for brunch?
Yes. And I did note in my notes, I was like, this is the natural progression of adulthood is you stop going to the college bar and you graduate to brunch on Sundays where you get hammered with your friends. The end.
Which also Hula Hands is also a bar as well.
Yes, that's so, and it's it's the perfect ending. Like everyone has a drinking and drug problem probably, but let's go to brunch on Sunday. See you there, guys.
Let's have some mimosas.
Exactly. Do we want to roll into final thoughts and a score on this?
Yeah, let's do that so that we can really talk about
weird science. Okay. I'll start off. Let me say this. This movie was rated horribly when it came out, and I think that still stands to this day. So I think this movie does hold up because it was terrible then and it was terrible now. I really think it's an interesting theme, like I said, of what happens after you've come of age and you start to realize like what adult life really looks like. I think that's such a great premise. It could have been so interesting. I couldn't connect to the characters. One of the big critiques I found, which I thought was really interesting, this is like the worst side of yuppie and excess culture that comes out in the 1980s.
Oh yeah.
And people then are like, I do not identify with these people because it's gross. It's like the Wall Street bros. It's the DC crowd. Props to one positive thing. It's really pretty when they go around Georgetown, when they go to the campus, which fun fact was actually the University of Maryland College Park. So that was a little cool tidbit, but there's very idealistic, pretty scenes. That is a beautiful part of the country. Really old buildings everywhere. So that was cool. This is hands down my least favorite Brat Pack film we've reviewed. Another note, not a good soundtrack. There are no bangers. There's no catchy, there's
a lot of saxophone.
There's a lot of saxophone. And I was just sad that there's no good music when there's, in all the movies we've watched so far, there's been like a couple, there's some good tunes at least. And that's what I identify as part of a Brat Pack film. I am giving this 3.5 sax solos out of 10. Which is right on par with the Metacritic rating at 35 out of 100. So, Danny, what did you think?
Oh boy. Like I said, this isn't a great movie. But it's also not good either.
It is not great, nor is it good.
I still kind of enjoyed it either way kind of thing. Like I said, if it didn't had the creepy obsessive behavior with Kirby's character, I think it would have been a decent movie. I think in all honesty, if Kirby just would have moved on and or they would have had this some sort of thing between Dale and Kirby, and Dale telling Kirby I'm sorry, but this isn't working out really. I'm just too busy with my career and stuff, and I just need to focus on that. They could have done something with that instead of having Kirby just obsess over this woman who barely even knows Kirby at all. Not a wink. I'm pretty sure after that so-called lunch date, she Kirby wasn't even on her mind after that. He wasn't even a thought. So yeah, so I don't think it would have been that bad if they didn't have that kind of thing in there. I'm reading, I'm on IMDb, and I was reading the trivia facts, and apparently Joel Schumacher had to fight hard to cast like everybody in this. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting. I don't understand why he would. I guess maybe like money issues and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give this like a 5 out of 10 yuppie guy having sex with a saleswoman.
Now that's a hell of a rating right there. Shout out saleswomen who have sex with the
no
yuppies.
Name.
Yeah, who has no name and we never see her. That's perfect. And you know what?
I'm curious. Okay, because I remember in the beginning when we started this, you read a little bit of Andrew McCarthy's memoir.
Yes.
And I'm curious on what his thoughts were on this movie in particular.
Yeah, this is an interesting time period too, where, with this film and with Breakfast Club 2, this like, and that I think it was from the New York Post that calls them the Brat Pack. This explodes them into complete stardom, unable to walk down the street without being chased by hordes of people for autographs and all of this. This is also a time period of heavy drinking and drug use by several members in the cast. Specifically, Demi Moore had to go to rehab before she could be in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was reading that, like, not only did Demi Moore's character was heavily, like, into drugs, but Demi Moore also had a drug problem during this time. And, like, Schumacher demanded her to leave the set because she was like super high.
Yeah.
So
she's they're starting to break down. McCarthy mentions that because of the success of the term the Brat Pack that's coming from these movies, he and the rest of them, especially Emilio Estevez, is finding it hard to get casted in future movies because it's not just this thing of like, here's the hot young celebrities. It's they're partying too much. They're showing up fucked up to work. So these rumors, these stories are starting to spread about all of these actors, about how troublesome that they are, and they're not in necessarily like critical bangers, they're getting negative reviews. So on top of this movie, which is getting negative reviews, they're building a reputation of party people that are dramatic to work with, that have issues. And Andrew McCarthy will go on to be in several more movies, but a lot of these folks, like, they're going to start to run into serious problems down the road. And it's just the excess culture of the 80s that we kind of talked about, of drinking and drugs and all of these things. So like this, like after this film, a lot of their lives start to deteriorate and unravel. So they hit a really tough part that they all need to kind of start coming back from. And I'm interested to see, Andrew McCarthy is making a documentary based off his book, and he's starting. I've been reading reports over the last couple months. He is starting to go and interview all of these old friends and cast members, and it's like some of them, it's the first time they've talked in like 15 years.
Yeah.
So when that comes out, maybe you and I can watch that, and we'll give a review of everything.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I definitely would love to do that for sure.
Yeah, so that would be fun.
So,
but that's everything I got for this one.
Awesome.
All right, and with that, we're gonna jump into our next Brat Pack film of our series, and that's gonna be Weird Science, which was released in August 2nd, 1985. So actually not that. What was that, like a month after St. Elmo's Fire? Anyways,
yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Now, guys, we got through the muck, so we could get to the cream of the crop right here. This is the good stuff. We're bringing it back to our buddy John Hughes, who is both the writer and director of this film. It's based on I know it's based on a I think it was like a short story of some sort. I don't have it in
So
my
they
notes.
based it. Okay, so they had to credit it because there was like a comic book that was also called Weird Science.
Ah, okay, there we
So
go.
they and the Weird Science comic book did have a story called Made of the Future or something like that. And they had to there's like a rumor that Joel Silver, who is the producer, um uh either he was the one who bought that title so that they can use the title Weird Science and stuff. But like it's a weird kind of thing. Like it's they say it's a rumor, but I don't know how true it was. So
Totally, that makes sense. But yeah, we're bringing our buddy John Hughes back in, who of course is the director of Breakfast Club, including a whole bunch of other films that we've talked about in the past. This is starring Anthony Michael Hall, Elon Mitchell Smith, Kelly LeBrock. Oh man, this is fun to see. Robert Downey Jr. and Bill Paxton, who I had no idea that both of these guys would show up, and that's so fun. They're very young in this film. Shout out Bill Paxton. I really like him a lot.
yeah.
The budget for this film was 7.5 million and the box office was 38.9 million. Kind of around the same numbers as St. Elmo's Fire. It has a current score on Metacritic out of 46 out of 100, which I think is criminally low, and I will get into on why. A quick plot, just a plot synopsis. It's about two high school nerds who use a computer program to literally create the perfect woman who promptly turns their lives upside down. Weird Science.
I'll insert the song.
Exactly. Thank you so much. The main theme, of course, we've already mentioned it, is by the 1980s pop rock band Oingo Boingo, who is fronted by Danny Elfman. You might know him as a super famous conductor now. He's done tons of scores for like The Nightmare Before Christmas, all the Tim Burton Batman films, just countless things. I think he did, didn't he? He might have done the Simpsons intro, unless I'm thinking of somebody else right now. But
I wouldn't know. I'm not a Simpsons person.
yeah,
So.
but he's just like super famous in the music scoring, conducting orchestra world now. But his original thing was Oingo Boingo. And where St. Elmo's failed us on music, this movie brought us back, baby. There's so much good music into it. I'm going to try to avoid some spoilers in this because I want you to go watch this film, audience members. As we mentioned, this is one of Sam's favorite. And really, all you really need to know from my standpoint of the plot is we've got two big dorks. We've got Michael Anthony Hall and Elon Mitchell Smith's characters, who are best friends, freshmen or sophomores in high schools. They're constantly getting picked on by Robert Downey Jr. and another guy in the movie through pantsing, getting slushies dumped on them, classic 80s nerd getting bullied stuff. And, you know, as the movie kind of opens up, we see them having a tough time at school and getting picked on. And then bam, Oingo Boingo slaps right in. And it's just such when I think of Brat Pack films, I just like Breakfast Club, I need a banger song to start the film so that you're just like, and then the intro credits roll. That's how you know it's going to be a good one. And we got that here. Really quickly, we realized that our two main characters, Gary and Wyatt, have trouble with the ladies. So they decide to program the perfect woman. This is one of the dumbest scenes I've ever seen in a movie, Danny, when Wyatt is the whiz kid, and Gary, who's played by Michael Anthony Hall, is kind of just his buddy who's just horny and gets into shenanigans. And
Anthony Michael Hall is actually playing like a somewhat nerdy cool kid.
yes. Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
versus
exactly it.
versus like his other counterpart characters, like from 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. So like this Gary the character is like he the perfect example that I could think of is Gary is Chandler from Friends.
Yes, very much so.
Like that's the only analogy that I could think of.
Yeah, and Gary's kind of the like he's the mastermind behind like why can't we simulate a girl? And he's just the ideas guy, and Wyatt is the more shyer, nerdier one that has the skills. And oh my god, like you see their ancient computers compared today, and they're like doing the thing where they're just like, well, I'll just start hacking, and he's like clack, 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 clack. And the next thing we know, he's hacking into like the Pentagon or something of similar nature. And
yeah,
it doesn't, and this is the most unimportant part of the movie is how they actually do it, because it doesn't make any sense. They hook up a Barbie doll to a computer, they feed it information, like they're like, well, let's make her smart, so we'll feed her, you know, scientific theories and all these kind of things, but we also got to make her super hot, so let's feed the machine a bunch of Playboy magazines. You know, they're controlling things like the size of her boobs and her waist size and all this ridiculous shit. I totally get that the idea of two young boys creating their perfect woman is very problematic for multiple reasons, but I try not to look too into this because it's just a stupid, silly comedy shtick thing going on.
Yeah.
Anyways, it somehow works. It doesn't make any sense how they're able, like, they don't like use any like natural organic materials to make this perfect woman. But of course, they're able to create Kelly Brock, who, my goodness, what a beautiful woman. And especially at the time,
Oh yeah.
gorgeous
Yeah.
lady.
I mean, I watched like a little kind of it was at like Awesome Con or something in 2019, and it was like a Weird Science reunion, and Kelly LeBrock was there, and she still looked good.
Oh yeah, she's just someone. She was born with beauty, and good for her. Of course, I have to tell you,
she actually turned down the role as Lisa, until like the one they like finally managed to cast someone for Lisa, but it didn't work out with the other model because of artistic differences, and then that's when Kelly LeBrock was on board and stuff.
Nice.
So,
well, I mean, I think she is wonderful as Lisa, and what we kind of come to find out is Lisa's character, which I like, instead of just being a subservient object for the boys, she's really their fairy godmother that they create in this convoluted way, which we can get to in a second. Shout out to wearing bras on your head during the process of making this woman. You've seen pictures of it. It's Gary and Wyatt with bras on their head. Actually, for this recording, Danny and I decided to wear bras on our head in honor of it. So
I am not wearing a bra on my head. Thank you very much. I would just like to point that out.
Oh my gosh. So it's just like silly, fun stuff like that. And of course, this is all based on the concept of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. And they do the thing where they're like, she's alive.
Yeah.
And that's super fun. And of course, shenanigans ensue with this because we get so many great iconic scenes of like, you know, what do you little monsters want to do first? And they all take a shower together, and she's showering naked, except they have their clothes on because they're so shy.
Well, they have like their pants and shoes on.
Yes, exactly.
They're like shirtless, but like, yeah. Because they don't know what to do.
Yes.
You know, like,
yeah,
like they're kind of just like flabbergasted. Like they're all like, is this for real? Like, is this real right now?
Oh, 100%. And they're adolescent young boys, you know, they're 15 years old probably. So in a lot of situations, they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do with a grown naked woman that's a smoke show in front of me. Like, you just, that's why it's silly, inappropriate, all of the above. And throughout the rest of the movie, this is kind of what happens without going too much more into it, is Lisa is trying to bring the best out of Wyatt and Gary through different, she kind of almost sets up like different confrontations for them to overcome. They go out to a bar, which is really crazy because they're underage boys, and she even provides them fake IDs so that they're drinking with older guys and ladies, and just she's trying to bring them out of their shell. This also includes,
Okay, which, by the way, that bar scene,
amazing. This is amazing. I love this
that
scene.
by far the whole thing from the minute they walked into the bar till freaking Wyatt driving, or actually scratch that, from the minute they went to the bar till their like they were confronting Chet with that whole thing.
Yes.
Because with Anthony Michael Hall just like having the Richard Pryor voice
Well, it reminds me too.
impersonation.
It reminds me too of Anthony Michael Hall gets completely hammered on like shitty cheap bourbon, and he brings back the voice that we did in Breakfast Club.
His license, Lisa.
Yeah. Chicks can't hold they smokes.
Yeah.
Like this.
So I did watch like another video, and like again it was I think it was at that like little kind of like Q&A thing, or another thing where Anthony, he was really close to John Hughes,
Mm-hmm.
and so like they would go to John's house and they would watch like the classic comedians, and Richard Pryor was one of them.
Oh.
And Anthony, he started to do an impersonation of Richard Pryor, and John thought that was like the most hilarious thing ever. So he kind of like took that, and that's like why the whole like chicks cannot hold their smoke kind of thing. And so at the bar scene, that's pretty much what Anthony did. Like all of that was just ad lib stuff. Like there were certain lines that he needed to say, but the rest of it was totally ad libbed for him.
I love that. I love that. Just a random thing is pretty much the foundation of Danny and I's friendship, which is of course that chicks can't hold they smoke.
Yeah. Chicks cannot hold their smoke.
And then in this one we got the classic line of "bitch need my nuts," and I'm just like, oh my god. So the coming back to it, Lisa is bringing the boys out of the shell. Another situation that she tries to help them with is Wyatt's older brother, who is named Chet in the movie. It is played by Bill Paxton. He is just a son of a bitch, army cadet guy that is just cruel to Wyatt, picks on him, beats him up, all these kind of things. And, you know, Lisa's like, Wyatt, you got to stand up to your brother. You can't let people push you around.
Yeah, you got to tell him. Because like that was their whole like drive. When they were going home, like Lisa was all like, you have to tell Chet about me. Like,
yeah,
it's going to happen eventually. And Wyatt's all like, no, I'm just not going to tell him. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. Sorry.
Because the boys are always trying to avoid confrontation because they feel weak. They feel meek. They just don't feel like they have the ability to stand up for themselves. I think of another great scene too, where Gary has Lisa come over to meet his parents. And
she was so excited about that.
Oh my god, yes. And Gary,
I can't wait to meet his parents.
Yeah, exactly. And Gary is somebody who lets his parents control his life, can't stand up to them, even though he's a good, he's all in all a good kid, good student. And Lisa, who's a smoke show, rolls in and she's like, I'm your son's date tonight kind of thing. And they're like, you're like 20 something. What the hell is going on? And she's basically being like, y'all need to chill out. Gary's the best. And the parents get heated. They're like, call the police. This lady's trying to like take our son. And she pulls a fucking gun on them and is like, no, Gary's coming with me and we're going out partying tonight. So it's just fucking crazy. This is where I start to realize that on my point of Lisa as a fairy godmother is Lisa is actually magical, and I'm not just
she
saying
can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, and not
like
and
she puts her mind to it. Like she can do it.
Yeah, not only can she do it though, but she like can manipulate reality. Like she can turn lights on and off with the with the flick of her fingers. She can erase people's memories. She can alter reality. So she's like literally,
which she kind of did to Gary's parents, like. Because when they were driving back to Wyatt's house for the party, Gary was kind of like low-key freaking out about the gun and everything like that. And Lisa was all like, don't worry, like your parents are not going to remember anything that happened. And they go back to like Gary's parents, and like Gary's mom was all like, wasn't Gary acting a little strange? And then his dad goes, who the heck is Gary? I don't know a Gary.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it just goes back between like the party and like Gary's parents, and like Gary's mom is like holding up a picture of Gary as like a little youngin', and it's all like, see, look, this is our son. And he's all, and his dad is all like, I don't know who that is. Like, yeah. So
I do want to say this. I do think this is the funniest film that we have watched so far in our Brat Pack series. This
absolutely. This is like super wild and like just out of I would say it's definitely in comparison to 16 Candles, which was another like goofy movie. This one is, again, like an Animal House goofy movie.
Yes.
But it's definitely, I feel like, I mean, aside from the F word, that the F bomb that they throw in there.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're not talking about fuck. We say fuck on this program, so that infers what the F slur they use.
Yeah, they use the word faggot, and but
beep that out. Bleep that
out. But I feel like also that term was used a lot in the 80s.
It was used in 16 Candles. It's another it's a John Hughes go-to word is what I realized.
I think it was also used a lot in frickin' The Breakfast Club too.
Yes, he loves it was popular at the time, and it's But this one,
so,
it's only happened twice in this movie. I did want to point out, which I think is less than other movies, which is good.
Yes. And like they're really, at least I couldn't catch them, but like to me, I don't think there was like a lot of cringy, offensive kind of like stereotype 80s niches in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like this was just like a huge party house kind of thing. I mean, aside from like Lisa being 23 and these kids are like 16, 15 years old, like, and they're freaking like having sex with this woman and kissing them and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's some the kissing she does is like pretty steamy at times, and you're like, that is a child. And now I was that age once, and I can tell you, I'd be like, this would have been the coolest ever. But obviously, as an adult, I'd be like, no, that's not good for anybody.
Yeah. But like, it's just a big joyride of a movie. John Hughes even got the actor who played Road Warrior from Mad Max. Like they actually got the actual actor from that movie, and also the actor from The Hills Have Eyes to play like the rowdy biker gang that comes in the middle of the party and stuff.
Yes, because Lisa convinces the boys to throw a big party, and I want to be careful here, Danny, because this is the ultimate ending scene of the film.
Right.
So
Well, this is like actually like the party at the house party is like the big like
climax of it.
Like the main part of the movie, really.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too into it too, because this is where I want the audience to go and watch it.
Everything just gets like out of hand. Like a lot of shit happens, and it's hilarious.
Oh yes, and like I said, the whole point of this movie is that Lisa is their fairy godmother and teaching them to come out of their shell, teaching them to stand up for themselves, which I think is great messaging. It's just really silly and dumb how we get to that. But man, this is what a fun ride. So much comedy, so much good music, interesting effects. I'm thinking of Chet in the future. We won't say what happens to Chet, but very interesting makeup effects and everything. I don't know what. It's just, this was just such a pleasure and a joy to watch. I just found myself laughing so much in this.
Yeah,
and it doesn't take itself seriously, which isn't like the rest of the Brat Pack films. Like a lot of them, coming of age, serious stuff. This is shenanigans through and through, to be honest. And I'm trying to think of some other, we talked about comedy. There's literally magic in it. The soundtrack's fantastic. It's also a little bit sci-fi. There's like a sci-fi element to it, which I don't think there's any other sci-fi based Brat Pack films that we're watching or going to watch anytime soon.
No, not really. I don't think so.
I guess we should have started too. I meant to ask Danny at the beginning is like, do you have any connection or relationship to this movie? And then maybe afterwards we can give our final thoughts and scores and whatever. But have you come across this in the past? Do you remember this at all? Like what is your
yeah,
relationship?
like this was like after I watched The Breakfast Club, I wanted to watch anything John Hughes directed or created and stuff like that. So Weird Science was definitely the other movie that I really fairly enjoy, and that is close to my heart because like it's just shenanigans all the way and stuff. Excuse me. And like you said, that the music in this one is fantastic. I mean, like all of the songs in this are excellent. I mean, the when they go to the mall and stuff like that, and like Lisa is shopping, and the boys are just like in awe, and they're just like, I can't believe like we just created a woman and stuff like that. And then like Lisa is in the lingerie shop and like asking the woman at the lingerie shop, like, do you think a 15-year-old boy, like if you were a 15-year-old boy, would this turn you on? And like she's holding like a lace thong, and the woman is just like in disgust, and Lisa's just like, yeah, I thought so too.
Oh yeah, that's. And I appreciate that they play into it, that they're like, yeah, this is really inappropriate and not good.
Yeah. So, but then all of a sudden when Lisa leaves, and she's like walking, and, Robert Downey and his friend Max, who is played by Robert Rustler, they have girlfriends, and like they're known as like the popular kids and stuff. And so while they're walking, like, I mean, the boys, they like dumped an icy on Gary and Wyatt. Mm-hmm. And so like Hilly and Deb were all like, that wasn't cool, like you shouldn't have done that. And like, they're all like, oh, we're sorry, And so they're like walking, they're going down the escalator, and Lisa is coming up the escalator, and then Pretty Woman starts playing, and like Ian and Max are just so mesmerized by Lisa and stuff, and just following her and everything like that. So like that whole scene is just like, to me, I feel like that's such an iconic scene, especially when like Lisa leads that Ian and Max to like outside, and like they're talking to Lisa and stuff, and then all of a sudden Gary whips up in this fucking Porsche, and is all like, all right, come on, hon, Lisa, like Lisa, come on, like we gotta go. And like Robert Downey Jr. and like both of them are just like, you're with them. Like I just love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so great.
Oh, it's the best.
So.
My connection with this film is kind of similar to maybe some other films that we've watched in this series, and it reminds me of The Faculty. This was always on TV when I was growing up. I'm thinking of TNT and TBS and stuff like that. So I'd always see it, and I can't remember the last time I watched the whole thing through. But this I have strong.
Oh yeah, I've watched this movie multiple times. Like.
Oh yeah. So
I definitely have watched it an obscene amount, and probably not as much as Breakfast Club, because I know I can recite Breakfast Club pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, totally.
Yeah, but this one is a hard like second or third, I would say. I think my second favorite like Brat Pack movie would probably be Pretty in Pink. Like that one's another one that I absolutely love. So
100, and that should be coming soon. Actually, now that I think about it.
I think that one's going to be next. Well, I'll have to look at our little pin thing.
Oh, 100%. But I just remember hearing Oingo Boingo, the title track, Weird Science, all throughout my life, and I have fond memories of it. And I'm glad I got to come back and just like sit down as an adult, watch it. It's goofy. You can't take it seriously, and then you're gonna enjoy the film a lot more. Should we head into some ratings?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet. I don't mind kicking off again. And we also always ask, is it outdated? I mean, like I said, the message behind of two young boys building the perfect woman is never the best message, but because it's a pure comedy, this movie rocks.
I think it aged well. Like, I don't think it's as, I would say it's not as cringe as 16 Candles is.
And certainly not as St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, watching those two movies, or at least the two movies that we watched today, this one, Weird Science, isn't as cringy. Like, this is just honestly a good time.
Yeah.
Like,
you're going to be bobbing your head. You're going to be laughing.
Yes.
You're going to be
like honestly, I mean, it has been a hot minute since I've watched Weird Science. Oh, and by the way, you can't find St. Elmo's Fire on HBO Max anymore.
Yes.
So you'll have to rent it if you want. I did rent it off of YouTube, so I actually rented both St. Elmo's Fire and Weird Science off of YouTube. So, I mean, I own Weird Science, but I couldn't find my DVD, so I couldn't watch it for free. So
100%. So this is a fun one. I'm gonna give it this. I'm gonna score it. This is the most fun I've had so far in our series, just because I just got such a kick out of it. I am going to give this 9 bras on my head.
Oh my God.
Out of 10, which is my highest score so far.
Wow.
It would have gotten a perfect 10 if we just gotten rid of those 2 F slurs. No.
Yeah, But honestly, like a 9, that's still a pretty good score.
That's a great score. I loved it. This one was, as soon as I finished, I'm like, I can't wait to talk with Danny. I've had so much. This is what makes the series that we're doing fun for me is movies like this. But tell us what you thought, Danny.
I mean, I love this movie. This movie is one of my favorites. Like, it's so stinking fun, and like, I mean, who doesn't like Kelly LeBrock? Like, she is so stunning,
icon
in this movie. Like absolutely stunning. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, I don't know what her career has been like before this movie, but I mean, for me, I feel like after this movie, if you saw her, like, I feel like her career would have skyrocketed. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like follow her career too hard. So, but you know, like, I mean, you see little baby Robert Downey Jr. in this, so like that's always fun to see, especially in a John Hughes film. So, and I honestly, like, out of all the characters that Anthony Michael Hall has played, this character in particular in Weird Science is my favorite character that he has ever played. I don't mind him playing Brian in The Breakfast Club. I mean, that's like an iconic character for him. But for me, for this one, like, I just loved everything about Anthony in this movie, from like how his hair was to the clothes that he was wearing, especially when Lisa gave the boys like a makeover, and like it was so cool, just like looking at them like in their corny ass weird suits in the bedroom, and then the minute they walked out of the bedroom, you can just see the electricity just changing their clothes. So just like those little things was just absolutely perfect. So I too am going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Let's go.
So, 9. 9 asking the saleswoman at the lingerie store if you were a 15-year-old boy, would these turn you on out of 10?
Oh my God. That's horrible. I love that. I love that so much. This was
Oh man. The face. I'm sorry. The old lady, like, when oh man, but I honestly think the best part about that scene is when the woman like in disgust, she's just like, ooh, and she picks up like the thing or whatever, and Lisa's all like, yeah, I think so too, I'll take these, and like she takes them with like her index and her thumb, and just like puts them away like they stink or whatever, and then as she's ringing the underwear up, Lisa asks, oh, do you have anything that could match that? Like a bra, like something along the lines rubber. I can't remember the third thing, but the second thing, but the third thing she asked, or anything that has barbed wire on it. And the woman was all like, oh, come on, honey. Are you serious? Like, I just died. I love it. It's so good.
That's just
it's so ridiculous.
This was a super fun one, Danny. I'm glad we're going out on a high note on this. Let's take a look at our schedule. What do we have left in our series so far? Let me see.
So we have like 4 more movies left, and funny thing, Pretty in Pink is our next one.
Let's go. Ooh, and About Last Night too.
Yeah. So About Last Night, I never seen that one.
Same. I've never seen that. Actually, I've never seen all of Pretty in Pink, so this will be my first time into it.
Okay, good, because Pretty in Pink is my favorite. Love that movie. Love it. Second favorite movie of all time, aside from Breakfast Club.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
So we have 4 more movies left. We have Pretty in Pink, About Last Night, Mannequin, and the last one is The Pickup Artist. So there were definitely like these last ones, at least like Mannequin and Pickup Artist, are like subpar to the Brat Pack. There is at least like one person who is part of the Brat Pack who is in it. So, yeah. But other than that, yeah, we're almost done, and we're concluding our Brat Pack series, which is exciting but also sad at the same time.
Yes, but don't worry, we'll figure out. We're already brainstorming lots of fun stuff to take a look at.
Yeah.
And if whenever Andrew McCarthy drops his documentary that he's working on, we're definitely gonna we'll rent that, and then we'll review that, and we'll get a better look on what was really going on with a lot of these people. On I was just looking at Michael Anthony Hall's kind of career after all of this, and after this movie, he's still able to get some roles here and there, but his career starts to take a dip. He's dealing with alcoholism because of the lifestyle. So you start to notice that things by this time period, a lot of these folks are going through like tragic parts of their lives. Robert Downey Jr. is probably the best example of like, he almost dies.
Oh my gosh. Like he had such a huge like drug and alcohol addiction when he was young.
And he's like one of the most paid highly acclaimed actors of our day now. It's crazy his trajectory, and good on him for getting it together. So I don't know. I'm excited for next time when we get back together and everything, and I'm excited to keep exploring these last couple movies we got, Danny.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, so thank you, King, for doing this. This is always a pleasure, and talking about movies, I love it. And literally, it's exactly what Sam said. Like, yes, Sam and I have formed the Cinnamontography bit for the two of us, but like, you definitely are like a part of that now, for sure.
Oh,
so
thank you so much. I love it. I love listening to you guys for years, and to get to do this with you is, well, it's just the most fun. I mean, this is just the good stuff. Now we're getting into the real good stuff too.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for our next segment of the Brat Pack series, which are the next two movies we're gonna be doing is Pretty in Pink and About Last Night. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with us for like almost 2 hours, maybe a little bit less. And yeah, buy a t-shirt. Our freaking Anime Summit website has amazing merch there and stuff. So check that out and listen to our lovely Plummet. And also, we just released our Scott Pilgrim Takes Off review on the regular show and stuff. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.